Hispanic, and poor, he's actually saying to folk, I'm going to make you go back into a lethal situation. That's straight up racism, Doc. It's straight up racism. And what we really need to be focused on, and politically, I think we ought to be saying, for instance, you and I have talked about this, the Black Caucus, particularly out in the House. We must make free health care a part of any new rescue bill, no matter what the Senate does. The House, where we have a majority, and we have to say, look, all of these states that are saying for folk to go back where we're having this high number of COVID infections, they are states that didn't expand Medicaid, Republican governors. So we should say that. We should show the intersection between racism and voter suppression and denial of health care, and say to the Democratic Party, particularly in the House, you have to pass an authentic rescue bill. This is your Selma to some degree. This is your moment. People are dying. People are dying at disproportionate numbers, and we don't need another bill to come out. 4 of them, Martin, nearly $3 trillion to corporations, and not one of those bills has addressed what's happening disproportionately in our communities and in poor communities. And by the way, it's not just black folk, it's poor black folk, poor and low-income black folk who are being hurt the most. Absolutely. There's a 60-second PSA y'all put out on this very issue. I want to go ahead and play that right now. And so let's see if we can, you should see it. Go ahead.
Across America, we are the 140 million poor and low-wealth people in this country, and we are building the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival.
On June 20th, we will rise together for the Mass Poor People's Assembly and Moral March on Washington, a digital justice gathering.
Our nation is at a historic crossroads.
But history teaches us that people from all walks of life must build a broad and deep movement from the bottom up.
On June 20th, we will come together to lift the voices and faces of poverty in the midst of pandemic for a massive, historic online gathering that will embolden us, strengthen us, and prepare us to fight for the kind of society we know we so badly need and deserve.
Rise with us. Visit June2020.org.
Of course, we were supposed to be there with you here in D.C. on June 20th, but now you're doing it on a digital platform, so explain.
Well, we have to, because what everybody is saying now that we're listening to is that pandemics, especially all the experts, pandemics live and breathe and exploit the fissures of our society. And America has a whole lot of fissures when it comes to poverty and systemic racism. What we had planned to do, we're going to do online. And what that is to lift the voices, Martin, of the people that are not being heard, the people that are dying of every race, creed, color, and sexuality, because there were 140 million of them poor and low wealth before COVID. There were 250,000 people dying a year from poverty and low wealth before COVID. There was 80 million people that did not have health insurance or were underinsured before COVID. And so it's time now for this voice of people to lift. There'll also be religious leaders. There are going to be actors there. But the main focus are people like this, Roland. I just got off a call with nurses, aid workers in Chicago. 64 nursing homes have decided they're going on strike because they are having to cut up trash bags, Roland, trash bags to wear into the care. They are seeing things. They don't have protective equipment. One lady said, I feel like I'm participating in my own mass murder. People who haven't seen their own loved ones because they're being forced to work for less than a living wage, being forced to work without the protective covering. I mean, just listening to these stories that just a few hours ago tore me apart. And we're going to make America see those stories. And they are demanding change. We have to see what is happening. And then they said this, Roland, and this is what really got me. They said, Reverend Barber, this was going on before COVID. But COVID has been like a contrast dye when you put it in your blood to show inside what's really going on. They said this is not new. It was going on before COVID. What is new is that now if we do what we were doing before COVID, we die or our spouses die or our children die. And so all of the people, poor and low income, in our campaign, we were thinking about canceling it. They said no. You cannot cancel. We have to use every tool available to humankind on social media because we must tell our stories. America must hear our voices, see our faces, and we must make demands. And we must register like never before to vote because no longer will poor and low-income people not be engaged in the political process.
Well, it's also important, obviously, to do this digital because the reality is that might be the scenario come November. And so digital mobilizing and organizing is going to be more than likely the way we have to operate between now and November.
Exactly, Roland. You've been leading us. You've been telling us. You've been warning us long before this. You say, y'all better get some of your stuff you own your own. So for 3 years, we've been building a digital platform with the Poor People's Campaign. You know, we just get it underneath. We've been connecting people. And we also, I don't want to tell everything we can do, but we also are having an underground type newspaper so we can reach the homeless community. I mean, the bottom line is there are 140 million poor and low income people. There were 100 million people that didn't vote in the last election. We did a study that was commissioned with Columbia University that said a lot of the 100 million people who didn't vote are poor and low income. And if just 5 to 10% of poor and low income people, regardless of race, would begin to get around an agenda and they would vote, they could fundamentally shift the political calculus in any state in this nation, and especially in the South. We cannot leave this work undone. Dr. King and others were killed. Robert Kennedy was killed trying to do this work, but it must be revived now. And COVID-19 is making it more essential than it was even before.
Every single night, we've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he's the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Cedrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Patal Salt, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Beja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward. Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris. Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Cardle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Spriggs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Bradeboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with The Root. The Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malveaux, economist, president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon McDougall, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi. Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You get the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Donald Trump is livid right now because one of his personal valets at the White House has tested positive for coronavirus. And so he's lashing out at his staff, saying not protecting him. No. But you're the one who went to Honeywell who didn't want to wear a mask. You're the one who has said you think it's silly to wear a mask. You're the one who has stood at news conferences with people next to you with nothing. In fact, when they had the nurses in the Oval Office, they were asked, why aren't y'all wearing masks? They were like, well, we've all tested negative for masks, so it makes no sense for us to wear a mask. Here's what he don't understand. You can test negative today, but you might be positive tomorrow. And then, of course, with Mike Pence, when he went to the Mayo Clinic, he didn't wear a mask, trying to be like Mr. Macho. Then later, oh, man, I guess I should have worn the mask, because he got criticized. And so, excuse me, Trump, if you upset because your personal valet got coronavirus, because you act like it's no big damn deal.
Yeah, we know, of course, Roland, and again, everyone now is freely using the word lie. Don Lemon has had a complete 180 conversion into blackness. Everybody across the spectrum. But all they got to do is go back to every broadcast you've been on since Donald Trump has been in this presidential conversation. You nailed this from the beginning. You can't, not only can you not believe a word that he says, you can't believe anything anybody around him says. Somebody says, oh, do you think Donald Trump has coronavirus? My honest answer is, I don't know. Because you can't trust anything they say. And this man, who's one of his personal valets, is a member of the armed forces. He's a Navy guy. And so this man is risking his life walking around all these white supremacists who are, and I'm going to call it virtue signaling. Not virtue in terms of good, but virtue in terms of white nationalist values. They're not wearing masks to signal to the members of their clavern that I'm with you. So this is not an accident for Mike Pence. This is not an accident for Trump and Honeywell. And as you said, finally, in the White House, in the Oval Office, when that nurse from Louisiana was like, I can't really get my get what I need in terms of PPE, my people, and he's sitting there holding himself like he always does to try to control. That's not what I'm hearing. Look, man, you're a liar. You're beneath contempt. There's nobody running the federal government on behalf of the so-called American people. And so, for all we know, you're not only not asymptomatic, you might very well have the coronavirus. I have no idea, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, and he's just mad because he's a germaphobe and has been since the day he came out of his mother's womb, apparently.
Every single night. We've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honoré, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Cedrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Patal Salt, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Deja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kit Ward. Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris. Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Spriggs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she's a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with the Root. Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malvo, economist, president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon Madugal, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi. Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You get the top medical experts, top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. This is critically important. We saw this impact, Michael, in 2016, how the Russian, those troll farms, how they were able to seed discontent by driving information. The largest Black Lives Matter group on Facebook was actually a Russian troll farm. And so we got to be very careful. This is where trusted sources matter, Michael, when you're getting stuff versus some of the harebrained, nutty stuff people send me all the time. They're like, Roland, you hear about this here? That's a lie. Oh, thank you. I mean, I spend more time shooting down stupid stuff because people are believing any nuts cases out there.
Yeah, I guess I spend probably not as much as you, but I spend a lot of time knocking out these conspiracy theories. And I say, look, spend a minute. You don't have to spend your whole life. Spend a minute reading some of the mainstream newspapers or watch CNN or MSNBC for a few minutes. I'm not asking you to prescribe to the beliefs, but just get some real news somehow. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered. There are so many opportunities for you to get real news and real information and take advantage of it. Don't just use, I was on my phone and somebody passed this along and said black people cannot get infected with COVID-19. Remember when that came out a few weeks ago? Absolutely preposterous, incorrect. Frankly, it impacts us more. So please just get some real news from time to time. Take the time and investigate on your own.
Avis, I say you might want to watch us before you watch CNN and MSNBC.
Absolutely. Because we're going to really tailor what you hear to those issues that are specific to our needs and to our interests and to our future. And so, it's really, though, important. The larger point here couldn't be any more correct. It's really more important that we don't get thrown off base by misinformation. And the reality is that, there has been a lot of investment into creating confusion and spreading lies and misinformation, specifically for other people to use it for what? Their own ability to gain and maintain power. And so I'm hoping that we will be a bit more discerning in terms of where we get our information from, that we question and don't just assume when we see some graphic on Facebook, for example, or we read some tweet that's not quoting anything or providing a source, but it's making some statement that appears factual, that we slow down and wait a minute and think, what is the source of this information? Is this a credible source? And does it even just make common sense? If we just took those 3 steps, I think we do a lot toward sort of stopping a lot of the spread of this misinformation that happens, specifically targeting our community.
Shireen Mitchell is now here. Shireen, again, we talk about this information being spread. I mean, look, you look at how the Trump people, Shireen, are targeting their folks, how they're using Facebook messaging just with a deluge of messaging. Look, at the end of the day, people respond to this. And we have to understand that there's a flip side to information. Information is power, but also it could turn against you.
Absolutely. When we talk about this from a framework that people don't understand, is like they think that they're not impacted by this sort of this disinformation. They think that somehow disinformation is something separate from them, and they are actually operating from a concept that they have all the information they need, or they think they've gotten some information that the media is not telling them. And so they use that as a weapon. And unfortunately, so many of our community is a part of that disinformation because we have a historical framework of not trusting the government, not trusting media, and it becomes very complicated in the way that we look at this.
And so give us examples of what is happening, what is really taking place out there with disinformation. I mean, look, this is what you study, and you're looking for, you're connecting the dots, and other people are just going, well, Shireen, I don't see what the big deal is this here. And you're kind of like, no, you need to go deeper. As one person said, some folks ain't deeper than mustard on a hot dog.
Exactly.
You're trying to go to the bottom of the hot dog.
Hot dogs, okay. But the truth is...
Well, look, the average person out there go, mustard on a hot dog. Oh, yeah, that's on top. There you go. You're trying to go deeper.
At the bottom. Or the bread, for that matter. I'm sorry. I was laughing because I thought that was a great analogy. But the key is that what I work on is taking the truth, right? We have some historical truth. We have some historical facts that impact the way that we believe certain things that come to us. And that's part of the problem. So when we get to the top, which is where the hot dog, framework of the ketchup or mustard is, we've gotten way past what the root of it is. And so historically in our culture, we know that we don't trust the government in terms of testing us. We don't trust the government in terms of vaccines for us. But what is different now is we're watching this culture change in a broader context. And there's some overlap here now. So those who don't trust the government are now sort of meshing together for reasons that are unhealthy in the sense in this moment with this particular virus. This virus is killing us more than any other group. And if we participate in the disinformation, then we're also participating in harming our own community more than we think we're saving them. So it's really important for us to understand, and I say this all the time, every single one of us has been impacted by disinformation. To ignore that or to dismiss that or to say that does not have an impact is literally dismissing how we can fix this moving forward. We don't have the tools or the tactics moving forward if we basically say disinformation has no impact whatsoever. It has no impact whatsoever for our elections and voting, and has no impact whatsoever in the terms of trying to save people's lives in this moment right now. And this is not new. We went through this before during the civil rights movement. We went through this before. And what I feel troubled by is the fact that people are all of a sudden wanting to dismiss this right now. That all of a sudden that they think that somehow with everything that just happened, everything we know from 2016 and all the tactics from 2016 to 2020, that somehow we're still immune from disinformation, as if the first story of us being immune from, as Black people, from the virus. We are not immune from any of this. And we have to take action in the concept of, we need to understand that this is part of it. And we also have to do a little bit of extra work to decipher what's real and what's still disinformation. The media isn't helping us either, by the way. So I thank you for having me on, Roland. But what I'm saying is that we're also taking part of this. We're actually taking action on the disinformation. So,
for instance, so explain to people, when you're out there monitoring the people who say, this don't happen, I'm not voting, or how is that weaponized and used against Black people?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. So let's just be clear. We have a historical framework, right, about the vote. We've gone through Jim Crow, right? We've gone through now the Voting Rights Act. We are watching daily the ways in which there are different states trying to manipulate our ability to vote. Gerrymandering, the police state, making sure that we're put in prisons instead of able to vote. All of that is also true. But, right, there's a big fat but to that. If we know those things exist and somehow don't think that the digital vote suppression part doesn't exist, we're participating in the same things that's against us. So when someone says, I'm going to use my vote as a hostage vote until the Dems do what I want or demand, we are allowing the same thing that happened before. Our ancestors, our elders fought and died for our vote. If you think that you can hostage take your vote right now in this moment, you're basically saying to our elders, you died for nothing. And that troubles me. It troubles me on multiple levels. But it troubles me more in the context that if you think showing that we have no power by our vote is better than stealing our vote, which everyone else is trying to do, and we are just going to join that crew, then we have not learned the lessons of our historical framework in this country and what we need to do going forward. And that's the struggle I have about digital vote suppression, because there are people who are participating in digital vote suppression. They're saying to our community, don't vote top of the ticket because they're both the same. Why bother? When I said last time I was on your show, 90K people did not vote top of the ticket in Michigan, and he won by 77K.
Total. He didn't win Michigan by 90,000. So what you're pointing out is that was just in the state alone.
One state alone. It does not count all the other states where the digital vote suppression was happening, where all the actual vote suppression was happening, on the ground vote suppression. What we saw in Wisconsin was on the ground voter suppression using COVID as a weapon to win their own seat. COVID and now is a new version of voter suppression. We have both the on-the-ground version and the digital vote suppression version. So absolutely, Wisconsin had suppressed 1 million votes before the election of 2016. 1 million. I'm talking about a small sliver of how he won versus the 90K that didn't vote top of the ticket. Also, the 75K who didn't get their opportunities to be counted at all. We should not be participating in not getting ourselves to vote. Everybody wants us to not have power. What happened in South Carolina for Biden is that he got a vote that no one thought was important. Sometimes I'm not sure he knows how important that vote was. But every other candidate had weaponized the fact that they did not need the Black vote, and then Biden won with exactly that.
And when you say and again, I want to go back. When you talk about that suppression, 90,000 people in Michigan did not vote the top of ticket. If you look at the numbers, people, Trump won Michigan by less than 11,000.
Yes.
He got 2,279,543 votes. Hillary Clinton got 2,268,839 votes. And 90,000 left at the top. So, final point here, Shireen. For people to understand, first of all, there was a report that y'all have done. Where can people go to see the report, to digest the full report?
Yes, so please, thank you, Roland. So please go to our website, stoponlinevawa.com.
Online.
VAW, VAW.com.
All right, stoponlinevaw.com to see the full report. And that's also important when our people are sharing certain things. You're participating in digital voter suppression based upon what links you share, what memes you share, what stories you share.
Yes. And we have two reports. Remember this. We did the report before anyone else did this on what was happening in 2016, before the Mueller report, before the state Senate report. In 2018, October 2018, we did the first report on how Black identity was used as a tactic for voter suppression. Our follow-up report, which is the one we're talking about today, was just an expansion of that. Go to the first report and then go to the second report, so you have a full synopsis of how this is being used against us in general.
Shireen Mitchell, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Every single night, we've got some of the top Black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear Black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first Black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Sadrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardy, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Abear, Patel Saul, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward, Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris, Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Springs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with the Root. Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malveaux, economist president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon McDougall, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi, Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You're getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the Black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope.
or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, we've been talking about the PPP program as it relates to how Congress passed this money to help businesses as a result of COVID-19. Folks, this is important because many of our businesses are not applying for the money. We've had numerous guests on the show talking about this. And right now, I want to bring up my next guest. He is the president of the National Bankers Association, that is the consortium of black banks. His name is Kenneth Kelly. He's the chairman and CEO of First Independence Bank. First of all, glad to have you here on the show, Kenneth. So you were on a call today with the Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin. So that's correct. And he said, what, $130 billion is still out there for businesses?
Yes, Roland. It's approximately $130 billion that is still available, and those funds will move pretty quickly. So we need people who are in business in 2019 into 2020 looking at ways that they can participate in this program.
And so my understanding is that when you look at the community, when you look at the various community development institutions, you look at the community banks, more than half of our businesses haven't even applied?
That's based on some sampling polling, Roland, that's been taking place across many different communities, the Harlem community, the Mississippi Delta, in Detroit, where we're based, et cetera. We believe that there is a underrepresentation in the minority community. And one of the things we really want to do is be sure to heighten the awareness that this program is out there and that individuals and their businesses can participate in this program.
So, and again, so obviously for a lot of people out there, they talk about the issues with the various banks. So explain how this also works, because you guys have a direct pipeline there. And so let's say they have a banking relationship, meaning an account with Bank of America, Chase. We're hearing all kind of stuff, how it's difficult to even get through. They're helping out the much larger companies. And so even if these black businesses don't have a banking relationship with a black bank, can they still go through you to apply for PPP?
Yes, the answer to that is yes, Roland. So if you don't mind, give me just a moment and really
go ahead.
Capture what's really going on. So we heard back in the late part of March, early April, that there was going to be X billions of dollars available. Many people took that to mean that the government was going to give all of that money to the banks. Well, that's not what actually happened. I want to describe what actually happens. So the way it actually works is all of the banks have their balance sheets, which is based upon the customers who deposit money into those banks. So the capacity for each bank is directly related to the actual capacity associated with those depositors. And so what we're doing at the bank level is basically lending against our balance sheet to those respective businesses. The intent is once we collect the paper, meaning the loan from those individuals who are borrowing money, we will take that to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve will take that paper and give us cash back for the actual money that we have given out that was already on our balance sheet. So that's how it actually and more technically works. Now, the challenge has been when you look at these large institutions and even some small ones, they've been challenged with trying to deal with the sheer number of individuals who are trying to apply for these loans. So you take, for instance, I think it's been over 2 million individuals who have applied for loans inside of a 4-week period. I think SBA has come out and basically said they have done more lending over the last month plus and relative to 14 years of lending. So there's a capacity problem, which has left many individuals kind of in the dark and not knowing where they stand with, in particular, their large institutions. What we have seen is individuals now starting to come back to smaller institutions, to include our African-American banks that are small community banks, and making application in the process simultaneously with some of their large institutions. it has created a little bit of a confusion, but the reality is we need to take care of our community. And so we're standing here as the National Bankers Association. We've been around since 1927 and want to serve our community.
And so again, so explain this as well. So let's say I have a business. So for instance, my business is headquartered in terms of it was incorporated in Illinois, but we actually do the show here in D.C. Let's say your bank is located where?
Our bank is actually physically in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, so is it possible that since that I could apply for a PPP loan through your bank in Detroit, or do I have to be in that state, in that city?
You actually can apply, Roland. When the program initially rolled out, the intent was to go to your existing bank, and we know how complicated that has become. But the reality is, if you apply to another bank, you can do that. There are some catches to that. Because of banks being regulated, we have to do a know your customer first. We also have to deal with the Bank Secrecy Act to be sure there's no anti-money laundering. And so those processes may take a little bit longer when you go to a new bank, but you can go to a bank that is willing to take you on.
And the reason I'm putting that out there, because, again, we are hearing so many black business owners, and people have tweeted me, sent me messages how the difficult they've had with their banks. There was one woman who she tried to get a credit card a while ago from, I think it was Bank of America or Chase. And she didn't get it, so then she went and got a Capital One card. Yet when she then applied for the PPP loan, they said, "Oh, well, you don't have a credit card with us." She's like, "What the hell? You wouldn't give me a credit card." And so I'm also hearing from business owners who say, "Look, banks are helping out these other businesses that have loans with them." A lot of black businesses, like myself, we don't have loans with any institution, but we have a banking relationship in terms of checking account, savings account, or whatever. And so that's one of the things that we're hearing. And so I just want to be clear for all the people out there, again, who have businesses. They can go to the National Bankers Association website. Is all the information on there? How do they get matched up with the bank? Must they choose one? Or how does that work? Walk through that process.
So the easiest way to do that is to try to do what you just talked about. Go to the banker that you know. But what we're willing to do is to try to do the best we can in helping all that we can. And so I'm willing to give out from our bank the PPPL at firstindependence.com. Again, if we can't serve you, we will make our best effort to get you served as soon as possible.
So, but do you have all the information that's there on your website?
We have the information on our website that you will need, but the irony is, in the way we've done this, Roland, has been more high touch. So we will send you a packet of what we would need for you to fill out in a way that we can keep high touch with our customers. So that is the process that we put in place.
So when you say send a packet, I just want to be clear. Are you emailing that packet or mailing that packet?
We will be emailing that by secure email to that individual. So you will be able to send us an email to the PPPL at firstindependence.com. You will receive a reply email back to you identifying a packet of information that you would need to fill out. At that point in time, we'll begin the processing of that, and then we'll respond back to you to let you know how that process is moving forward.
So I'm on the website right now, okay? And so let's say let's say I'm in Houston and I see down here, I'm on your site right now, and I'm going to pull it up right here. And so you got Union National Bank. But let's say I'm in Baton Rouge, and then I see Liberty Bank and Trust in New Orleans. And so are you saying that, are you suggesting that if you have a business, should you contact the one that's closest to you, even if they're in another state?
You should make that effort. Again, they may not be able to serve you. Many of our banks, because of that capacity issue I brought up, Roland, are reaching their capacity. But I would still say what you'll find is the national bankers will try our best to help you as soon as we can. So you can feel free to call on us directly at First Independence Bank or Liberty Bank or Citizens Bank in Atlanta, Industrial Bank in D.C., and see if we can give you the help that you need. And again, it may be challenging for us to respond right away because we have a very small infrastructure. But the intent is we need to be sure to heighten the awareness in our community so everyone is aware that these dollars are out there for them to participate in this program, Roland.
And again, so I'm here on the website, and I'm showing the member banks. Guys, you should be able to pull that up right now, and you will see it. The website is nationalbankers.org, nationalbankers.org, and banks in Mobile, Alabama, Los Angeles, Pasadena, California, D.C., Atlanta, Savannah, Georgia, Chicago, Weir, Kansas, New Orleans, Baltimore, Boston, Detroit, Durham, Tahlequah, Oklahoma, Philadelphia, Columbia, South Carolina, Nashville, Memphis, Laredo, Texas, 2 in Laredo, Texas, Brownsville, Texas, and Unity National Bank in Houston as well. And so, look, bottom line, $130 billion that's out there, still available, and folks have to fill it out. I do have to ask you this here because I was talking to someone through the first round. They stated that if you had 1099 employees, that you could not include them in the PPP program. They had to file individually. I was talking to somebody else who said in the second round, you could include 1099s.
Well, let me try to clear that up. The reality is the rules were written that 1099 and sole proprietors could not apply until April 10th. That was during the first round, but it was late, a week later than the opening, which was on April 3rd. So 1099 and sole proprietors actually got a late start into the process, but that is open now for them.
Okay. All right. Kenneth Kelly, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a bunch for joining us.
My pleasure, Roland. Take care.
Every single night, we've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Sadrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Patal Salt, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward, Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris, Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Spriggs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie British Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with the group. Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malvo, economist, president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon Madugal, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi, Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You're getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. The two white men who shot and killed Ahmaud Arbery are in jail as we speak. Gregory McMichael and his son Travis arrested last night by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, both charged with murder and aggravated assault. And they were taken into custody. Now, this comes days after a cell phone video. This right here, they're mug shots of these two. The father on the left, the son on the right. The decision comes days after a cell phone video emerged that captured the final moments of Arbery's life while he was jogging through the Brunswick, Georgia neighborhood in February. Now, the third man who was in the vehicle behind them, who recorded that video, no word yet on exactly what is happening there. Folks, do y'all have the video from today's news conference? If so, go ahead and play it. All right, let me know when we have that. So we can go ahead and play that for you. Bottom line, folks, this decision came last night. Remember, we literally, as we were going off the air last night, this decision dropped when they sent out a tweet, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, at 8:02 p.m., stating that these two were under arrest. Now, the crazy thing is that these other DAs had all of this time to actually arrest them, but they chose not to. The first DA recused herself. The second DA recused himself only after pressure, but he had already determined that they were not going to that they wouldn't even arrest those two. And so folks have been protesting. Folks have been saying that this was grossly unfair. But it was a local defense attorney in Brunswick, Georgia, who actually dropped that video on Tuesday. That's what got everything moving. The next day, the DA says he was going to take it to the grand jury. Wasn't good enough. Folks called on the governor, Brian Kemp, to have the GBI get involved. Then they actually got involved. That's actually what happened. In a moment, I'm going to pull up the video from today's news conference. First, let me bring up my panel right now. A. Scott Bolden, former chair, National Bar Association Political Action Committee. Robert Patillo, executive director of the Rainbow Push Coalition Peachtree Street Project, and we'll be joined in a second with criminal defense attorney Yodit Tuwelde. I want to start with you, Robert. You're there in Georgia. Again, it was pressure by the public that made this happen, and it was the Georgia Bureau of Investigation who chose to stand up and do something and not wait for the grand jury like the local DA.
And let's understand that this is par for the course in Georgia. For people who remember back to 2003, we had a very similar case in Columbus, Georgia, with Kenneth Walker, where a young African-American male was shot unarmed in the back of the head by police, and the grand jury declined to indict it. This case went through 3 separate district attorneys, and if it was not for the video being made public. Remember, the video had been circulating in Brunswick and Glenn County for several months before it was made public. If it was not made public, if it was not for the public outrage, we would not have seen this, the GBI stepping in, going over local prosecutors.
Hold tight 1 second, Robert. Hold on, Robert. When you say it was circulating, what do you mean it was circulating? That other people saw this video?
That is the understanding, that other people had seen this video once it was sent to the attorney. Other people saw it before it was released publicly. So this information is new to the public, but it had been circulating there for a significant period of time. In addition to this, we have to understand that the way that Georgia laws are structured, and we remember we filed a lawsuit on this with Rainbow Push back in 2013. The way both the citizens arrest, for lack of a better word, statutes are structured, and the stand your ground law, the same law that was in question in the Trayvon Martin shooting, are structured. They give people nearly a plenary power to claim self-defense, even if they're outside of their home, even if they have no duty to retreat, and it ends up being the word of the person who is alive versus the word of the person who is dead. absent additional witnesses or absent video. So what has to happen is we have to change these laws. These laws are on the books, not just in Georgia, but in 26 other states. And if you do not have the fortune of somebody videotaping it or another member of the posse who is hunting you down to make a video of your execution, then often there is no independent way for an indictment to happen or a conviction to happen. And most importantly, in a case like this is a case for the United States Justice Department to investigate. You see a clear violation of 18 U.S.C. 242 regarding deprivation of civil rights under color of law, a violation of 18 U.S.C. 241, a violation of the Robert Byrd Act, which was passed in 2009 under the Obama administration. So we need to put our efforts together to call on the United States Department of Justice to handle a case like this, which is in many ways a modern day lynching. We have to have federal intervention because throughout the South, throughout the history of the civil rights movement, we saw that local prosecutors could not be trusted to enact justice in these cases.
Well, first of all, not necessarily know we can trust this current Department of Justice. This is the news conference today where the GBI announced the arrest of the two McMichaels.
Statutorily become involved when we're asked to become involved. You know, and we don't work off of a timeline. In a perfect world, would we prefer to have been asked to become involved in February? Of course. But sometimes it isn't a perfect world. So we have to deal with the situation as it's placed in front of us. Yes, sir.
Director, when you say you're going to continue investigating, will that expand to the Glenn County Police Department and also the DA's office?
It will only expand to what's relevant to this murder investigation. We've been asked to conduct a murder investigation. That's what we're conducting. Yes.
Director, you said Ahmaud's mother has said that the original story she was told by Glenn County Police was that her son was seen in an act of burglary and that the homeowner was the one that confronted him and shot him. That's not the case. You can see that from the video. Are you looking into Glenn County investigators and their investigation and whether or not they were presenting the accurate information to the parents and whether or not they were doing a thorough investigation?
The only way I can answer that is to tell you that anything that's relevant to the murder investigation we're doing, we will look at. If it's relevant to the murder investigation, which is what we've been asked to do and it's what we're doing, then we'll look at it. If it isn't relevant to that issue, then we won't.
Director, are you concerned that you became involved? Are you concerned that you became involved in the case so late and that it took more than 10 weeks for an arrest to be made? Are you frustrated by the delay, the 10-week delay in when this happened and when an arrest was made?
Well, again, I'll preface it by saying what I said a moment ago. The way we look at cases, if we can become involved in a case when there's still an active crime scene, when something just happened, that's always better for my people. It always is, because we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not depending on what someone else done. We're starting with what we do from the beginning. And so in a perfect situation, that's the best way to get the GBI involved. But again, if I told you this was the first time we ever came in late in the case, it wouldn't be true. It's happened before. And so, you know, my folks, I think, have done a tremendous job considering when they got involved, how, and the time they got involved to do what they've done to this point. But I would be foolish to tell you that things wouldn't be better for us as an agency if we didn't get involved very, very early in a case. I see you. Yes, sir.
Reynolds, the attorney that apparently leaked the video, said that it's the full unedited video. And have you been able to confirm that? And also, is it the only video that your office has seen of the shooting?
Well, I'm not comfortable talking about a whole lot more evidence about the underlying case at this point because we're not through with the investigation. We've obviously observed the video that we have. Whether or not there are any additional videos, I don't know of any, but regarding the link, the editing, anything of that nature, you know, we have our experts looking at it and we'll make that decision down the road. Right now, I'm not comfortable speaking on it. Yeah, right.
I've got a question for the prosecutor.
Scott Bolden. Scott, when you look at what took place here, this DA decided late. And let's be real clear, the DA only asked the GBI to get involved when the video became public because he was under pressure to do so. It was abundantly clear they were trying to sweep this thing under the rug and hope everybody forgot.
Well, you're absolutely right, but here's another legal viewpoint that as a former prosecutor, your job is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to charge a crime. That is, that the elements of murder, you have intentionality, you have a death, and you have an actor, and you have a weapon in most jurisdictions. And that's really what you do as a prosecutor, or you put it in the grand jury. Here, the 10-week or 13-week delay, in part, was because you had a prosecutor who looked at the case, even though they later recused themselves. They looked at the elements of the crime of murder or aggravated battery, and then what they determined is they then looked at the defenses in the case, which is completely inappropriate for a prosecutor to do.
I thought the DA was a defense attorney.
So what now?
I thought the DA was a defense attorney the way his document read.
Right. So they looked at whether there were any defenses, which is completely inappropriate, and then determined that I can't prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm not putting it in the grand jury. It's clear they've got a defense, but that doesn't absolve you of a crime because you have a defense. All it does is absolve you of being charged, and so highly inappropriate. Now, we've lost 13 weeks. This is really important too, Roland. How many witnesses have we lost? How many documents have been lost? How many pieces of evidence no longer exist, if you will? And I'm going to tell you the defense is going to put up the defense of self-defense, and they have lined it up to attack the prosecution's case already. And this is going to be a difficult case to prove, despite the spotlight, in part because of that 13-week delay.
In fact, Yodit, because this prosecutor hands you essentially your entire defense, they're going to stand before a jury. They're going to actually put that prosecutor on the stand, even though he recused himself, and they're going to sit there and ask them, well, did you do this? And they're going to hope that that jury goes, well, that's a district attorney. We believe him.
Right, but he already loses credibility in that he already established he had to recuse himself because he had previously had a working relationship with either the father, who I believe is Gregory McMichael, who is a DA investigator. So he had to recuse himself because he couldn't be impartial. So whatever he says on the stand has to be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah, but that's depending on the jury actually taking it with a grain of salt. And then if the jury is coming from this community, it's a good bet it's going to be an all-white jury.
And
one person. One second. Robert Scott, then your D. Go ahead, Robert.
I said, one, on that point, remember there was the first prosecutor who recused himself because Mr. McMichael worked for the department. Then there's the second prosecutor who recused himself because his son worked for the Brunswick District Attorney's Office. Then it was transferred to the Atlantic Judicial Circuit, and more than likely they will attempt to remove the case to another jurisdiction within the state. But if you know Georgia, you know there's only a couple jurisdictions where you're going to have much diversity in that jury pool. And on this issue of the grand jury indictment, one, you do not need a grand jury indictment to arrest somebody. The arresting officer, the responding officer on the scene should have arrested then and then let the prosecutor work it out later. You do not present somebody with their defenses. If you run a traffic light or if you get a DUI, they don't wait to go to the grand jury to arrest you. They arrest you then they submit to the grand jury, and then they sit you down for trial. So this is why I say that federal investigation is so important, because all these things have been mentioned previously regarding evidence, regarding witnesses, regarding the defense of self-defense. The defense case is already made for them going forward. They will say that that the prosecutors already said that this is a self-defense case. All the witnesses will support that proposition, and they will simply say this was a witch hunt because of national media attention, people getting outraged, and they'll probably try to sue the state for false imprisonment or for their period of time and defamation and so on and so forth, and end up getting a check out of it. So it's very important that we focus on creating a federal investigation into this.
Yeah, Robert, you're right about that. But let me just say this. I don't think the former prosecutors come in part because of what my colleague said before you, but also it's irrelevant. And because one person's opinion, even if they have the write-up, may be the outline for the defense, but it does not relevant probative of material as to the guilt or innocence and the conduct of the defendant. So I think that stays out. It's not like Cosby where they had the former prosecutor there, because that was a civil case. So you got to draw that distinction. The other point is we may, as a defense, may not want him to take the stand because of his conflicts, and he ultimately didn't reach a determination. He's got real credibility issues.
Deet, obviously, the thing that also jumps out, the third guy. What's up with him?
I think he may have probably an argument that I think the investigation that's pending with regards to the third individual has a lot to do with what he knew. How much information, to what level was he involved in when it comes to how they decided to approach Ahmaud that day? So was he someone who was truly concerned and wanted to support them in their citizen arrest of Ahmaud, and that's why he followed, and that's why the police determined what happened, or was this all planned? How did they plan it out? And if that's going to be revealed, then he's as much guilty of murder. I mean, right now they're presumed to be innocent, so of course alleged. I'm the lawyer, I've got to say that, but if it is revealed through this investigation that he was there from the start in planning how they were going to hunt Ahmaud down, then he should be arrested really soon and for the same charge.
Every single night. We've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Sadrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Patal Saul, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward, Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris, Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Springs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with the Root. The Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malvo, economist president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon McDougall, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi. Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You're getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, let's talk about what's happening when it comes to police. Across the country, police officers are being given the power to enforce social distancing laws. Yet we've been showing you these videos of what happens when you're black compared to when you are white. Videos are frankly devastating. And in fact, I'm going to pull up one of the videos that, again, it's just crazy. It's crazy what we're seeing as to folks. If you actually have the video, go ahead and roll it, folks. One of the latest videos, I was on the page of Tamika Mallory, and she was showing the video. And again, where these cops were just pummeling this African American when it comes to social distancing. But again, please show me and let me know if I've missed it. Show me the videos of white folks have been beaten. Now, here's what happened here. Okay, just so y'all know, there was a woman named Rebecca, who's an attorney. She posted this video. Just so y'all know, okay, what did the man say? Okay, this is what he said. He told a police officer, "Suck my dick." Y'all, that's not illegal. That's not illegal. Now, is it disrespectful? Yeah. But that's now? That's now? Oh, now I'm going to beat somebody down and take... Really? Is that where we are? It's crazy. Joining us right now is Eli Mistel, justice correspondent for The Nation. Eli, glad to have you back on the show.
Thank you so much for having me again, Roland.
So man, what's crazy, again, please show me a video of somebody white getting their ass kicked. Because I haven't seen it. In fact, the white folks who were losing their mind in state capitals, the cops were all in very good behavior as they were yelling and spitting in their faces.
You see the video of the white boy in Austin? The park ranger in Austin was explaining to this white kid and his friends about the social distancing rules, and the white kid just shoved the officer, the ranger, into a lake and then ran away. And the officer just kind of got up out the lake and like slowly walked after him. Apparently, eventually they arrested him. But let you look like me and you try that, right? Right. You're not going to have a smiling mugshot.
Yeah, we push a ranger in the lake. Trust me, they coming out the water shooting.
Right? They'll dry off that gun real quick.
Right.
Look, this is a thing that I am worried about generally as the country opens back up and as we try to get back to normal after during this coronavirus pandemic, because normal for black people is already involves being in mortal danger when you are within 6 feet of a police officer.
I'm actually playing the video right now you're talking about, and this is the video here where the park ranger is explaining lake rain, everything. All of a sudden, you're going to see on the right side, watch this, y'all. Here it comes. The dude literally pushes him in the water, and the other people, they're standing around, and the kid sort of takes off, and the ranger gets out, and as you say, it's gingerly, walks over. Yeah, that ain't happening if it's...
Oh, man. Way harsh, Ty, like that. So I think that when you look at how cops are going to treat us as we get back out there, as we get back to normal, now that they have this new power to harass us over following social distancing guidelines and regulations, the same kind of racially biased policing that we've seen for the past 400 years. It's going to continue here in the year 2020 as we get back out there from coronavirus. What you're going to see is, and we've already seen videos attesting to this, right? We're going to see white people flaunting the rules, white people congregating closer than they're supposed to, while cops kind of gently explain to them and try to implore them and encourage them to follow the rules. You're going to see black people violate the rules in minor ways and catch a beatdown, or worse. We're gonna see cops use the violation of social distancing rules, not only to justify brutality, but certainly to justify arrests, charges. People are going to go to jail. And as we know, just because of the country we live in, a percentage of those people who are stopped and harassed by the police will end up being shot. Police will say that they resisted arrest or they were disrespectful or whatever, but a percentage of black people who violate social distancing rules will be shot by cops, whereas white people who violate those rules will get warnings from cops.
And when you listen to these explanations that are being offered, they're frankly weak. They're weak. And you cannot show, oh, yeah, well, the black people were resisting, but the white people are like, oh, it's okay, sure, give me a mask.
I don't see how you can resist more than getting you and your buddies in a truck full of guns and rolling to the state capitol. Like, I don't see how you can resist more than that. You don't see black people doing that, right? It's not like black people don't own guns, but you don't see us, like, rolling with our homies up on the governor to, like, protest the fact that we can't go to the barbershop no more. The unequal treatment in the society is all over the place for anybody willing to look. And the thing that kind of I can't use the word shock because I'm way too old and way too black to be shocked, but I am consistently disappointed with the level of leadership we get, not just that of crazy Washington man with his lies and misinformation, but even in red states, even from blue states, even from Democratic governors, even from Democratic mayors, right? This guy that we were talking about earlier that got beat down this week, and this happened in New York City. And if you can't rein your police in New York City, what's going to happen to black people in Flint? What's going to happen to black people in Austin, where this white boy was pushing park rangers in the fountain? What's going to happen to black people in Orlando? What's going to happen to Hispanic people in East LA? If you can't make this right in New York City, you're not going to be able to make this right anywhere.
Well, it is something that we have to keep watching, and we got to be more prevalent. Look, and I get the whole deal with social distancing, but that is not a license to beat the hell out of black people.
It's not a capital offense, and it's something that we talk about every time we see an explanation. It's an instance of police brutality where the cop allegedly says that the person was not following a rule. There are lots of rules violations that are not capital offenses that shouldn't result in a person getting shot or beaten and put within inches of their life. In the justice system, which I cover, even if you are accused of violating a rule, you're supposed to have your day in court. You're supposed to present evidence on your side. You can't have that kind of justice when it's meted out by a cop on the street who simply decides that it's your time in the barrel. And so again, I just emphasize that not only do we have to be vigilant in terms of the media, like I'm so glad that you are covering it, Roland. There's so many media outlets that don't cover the kind of unequal treatment that we face. So not only do we have to be vigilant in terms of covering in the media, we have to demand our political leaders do better, right? If de Blasio in New York holds the leash on the cops, we got to demand that he yank it when the cops start beating us up over some trumped up social distancing charge.
Ellie Mistel, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you so much, Roland. Have a nice one.
Greg, thank you very much. I want to go to our panel here. Kelly, look, I mean, he's right. Leadership must lead. And unfortunately, what you have mayors who don't want to get on the bad side of police unions, so they don't say anything.
But not only do they not want to get on the bad side of police unions, it really just feels like they don't want to get on the bad side of white people, because it is those people, honestly, with the exception of a few people of color who have a racial bias, who are committing these offenses against citizens. So citizens who are black specifically. So for me, the history of policing in this country being, self-deputized white people, translating that into 2020 with, cops who still have a racial bias, picking on black people and other people of color, I can't help but feel that these municipalities and bureaucracies across the country still ascribe to that line of thinking, in that if it's white, you are right. And it's unfortunate because our country has diversified greatly since that time, but we still ascribe to that old way of thinking. Not that it was right in the first place, but it should be even less acceptable today.
Melody?
This is something we've seen several instances of this just around the country. And that's why I'm one of those, and I've seen people share it on Facebook a lot, but that's why I've been careful. I haven't shared anything about what's been happening in Chicago and other places that people have been criticizing, because we do respond to that in ways differently than we do people who decide to go to a beach. Twerking party versus beach. Both of them threaten, or, from what we understand, can threaten the lives of people around you, but they're covered differently. So with what happened here in New York, I'm glad he actually said something that I was thinking about earlier on, that it doesn't matter if you are in a red state or a blue state, these type of things happen all the time. And what we need to do, whether if it's a Republican governor or a Democrat governor or mayor, for instance, what we need to do is make sure that we're actually challenging them to make sure that whatever sort of reforms, whatever sort of the attention, whatever sort of training that can go on, that's something that we need to focus on. But another part of that is what I'll say is just as far as us, we, black people, black folk, we need to start having conversations with each other as far as how we engage with the police as well, because understandably, it's a very, very, very tenuous relationship. And as someone who I've been in situations before where I could feel the hair raising on my back when I'm interacting with a police officer. So those are real feelings, but we also need to have conversations about what we need to do to make sure that we're not ultimately in jail or detained for reasons that aren't necessary.
Brooke?
I don't know. I wish that there was something that we could do. I think people are already having those conversations, with their children specifically. And people know, like we generally know that like things are going to be different for me, for my brother, than it would be for someone who didn't look like him. But we have just seen over and over, like this guy happened to cuss. But there's been so many instances where nobody did anything. We've seen instances where people got shot when they were sleeping. I wish that there was some way we could fix this by our behavior, but there really isn't. I think it's like a pipe dream.
No. This has nothing to do with us.
We can't.
White folks cuss cops out all the time. They don't end up dead.
Drunk too.
And also kind of like how ridiculous it is that this is a social distancing arrest, right? So something that you really shouldn't be arrested for. But we are going to see these things, especially like disproportionately in black communities all across the country, as police officers are given permission to punish people for doing this. But what happens is now this person who really didn't do anything wrong, really doesn't deserve to be behind bars, is going to go to jail. And so you are upset with him because he could be potentially spreading this virus, right? And so you're going to go take him to jail, where there are a lot of other people who are really just kind of like sitting there how their safety depends on who is brought in. And so it makes no sense to bring somebody else in for something like this. And now everyone else in there is at a higher risk because you brought an outsider in that for no real reason.
Yep, that's what we're dealing with.
Every single night. We've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Cedrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Abear, Patel Salt, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, Senior Economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression,
in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward. Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris. Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist. Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association. Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle. Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist. Kat Stafford, she's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York. William Spriggs, AFL-CIO economist. Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Breeze Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolanda Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with The Root. Lamina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malveaux, economist president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon Madugal, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi. Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You're getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. The unemployment rate in the U.S. has risen to 14.7%, folks, with 20.5 million jobs lost in the month of April alone as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. That's what it looks like for everyone, but we're looking at what it looks like for African Americans. Joining me now is Benga Ajalore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress. All right, sir, what are we looking like? That's overall black folks higher and Latinos higher?
Yes, very much so. So black folks is up to 16.7% from 6.7%. And then for Hispanics, it went up to 18.9%, a jump of 13%.
Wow. And so now folks are already talking about May, June. I mean, this is not going to be a one-time bump. How long do economists like yourself think we're going to be dealing with this high level of unemployment?
It's actually really hard to figure out because of this is a public health crisis, and we've been, quarantining for 2 months, but the administration hasn't done anything. Congress hasn't done anything in terms of testing or contact tracing and doing all those stuff to actually try to combat this public health crisis. So the longer this public health crisis is going to last, the longer this economy is going to get worse. With that,
obviously, even with a slow rollout, that doesn't mean people are going to be coming back. But here's the deal: you can open your business. You can talk about doing hair, doing nails, restaurants, whatever. But if the customers say, hey, I'm not messing around with this coronavirus stuff, you're not going to have employees coming back.
Exactly. And one of the kind of sad things about this is that people are actually being forced back to work because a lot of these states, Georgia, a lot of these southern states, they put people back because they want to get people off of unemployment insurance. Because if you open up the economy and then you say you have to go back to work and you don't go back to work, then you become ineligible for unemployment insurance. And people are worried, rightfully so, of going back to work and catching this coronavirus because we aren't tackling this public health crisis.
And on that particular point right there, when you talk about, because again, if you have to make an economic decision, it's real simple. If I know I'm getting this in unemployment, but then if I go back, but then they cut my hours and cut it way back down, no, economically, it makes sense for me to stay on unemployment.
Not just economically, health-wise. I mean, we have over 75,000 deaths, over 1.2 million cases, and it keeps increasing. Because people seem to forget, this is about health, people's lives that we're talking about. And so, yeah, if you want to go back and work, then you're going to take that risk, but you actually need to stay home. So we want people to stay home. We want businesses to temporarily lay people off and have furlough so that once we combat this public health crisis, then people go back to their original job, and then we can get the economy started again. But we have to tackle this coronavirus first.
What do you make of the proposal by Senator Kamala Harris, which says, look, give Americans $2,000 a month?
That's a very important plan because we had that $1,200, but we know that not going to last. Even in small cities, that's not going to last a long time. We have people who are losing their jobs, but they still have to pay rent. They still have to pay their bills. There's not enough places are doing moratoriums on that. And so people are going to need this money for as long as this thing's going to last, because we talk about 14.7%. That's the highest unemployment rate since the Great Depression. So it tells us about how deep this is. And so to help people through, to keep paying their bills, to put food on the table, things like that, then you're going to have some sort of kind of process or some policy to have direct payments that's going to be continuous, not a one-time payment, but continuous payments.
But I don't necessarily think we have a Congress that actually has those guts, even though you have some Republicans like the senator out of Missouri who's been making that particular point, who also has been saying you should be giving direct payments to people, yes, especially businesses.
Exactly, because this is a thing where we have to think bigger, we have to think broader. We have to help both businesses and individuals, especially small businesses, to actually keep this going. So the thing to do to solve this public health crisis is to stay at home, social distance. But to do that, we have to make sure that the businesses are able to, especially the small businesses, make them able to continue, and then have individuals be able to stay at home, stay safe, stay healthy. And then once we tackle this crisis, then everyone can come back. But to do that, businesses have to stay afloat and individuals have to stay afloat. And that's why we need all this kind of packages and policies to promote this.
All right. Benjamin Ajolore with the Center for American Progress. We appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you very much.
All right, folks, want to bring in my panel for today. Bring back Robert Patillo, Dr. Nyambe Carter, Howard University Department of Political Science, and then we'll soon be joined by Derek Holley, of course, president of Reaching America and political analyst as well. Dr. Carter, I'm going to start with you. Looking at these numbers, look, these are real. And bottom line is this here. Business owners are unsure. Folks are saying, wait a minute. In fact, I know there's a woman who I know, she has a business, a spa business. And the mall said, y'all got to reopen. She said, my customers are not ready to come back. And so she turned in gave her money for that particular month and said, I'm out of this lease in 30 days. So business owners are saying, it doesn't make sense economically for me to open up. I'm bringing employees back on the payroll. I'm having to pay them if I don't have any customers.
Well, absolutely, Roland. I mean, and what is the point of opening your business if you're going to kill your customer base? I mean, quite frankly, this is reckless and it's dangerous. And I think when we're talking about the health effects, we have to also know that our communities are at particular risk. So this kind of stuff is going to be, we have to think more critically about this. It's more than just the money that we are losing as business owners and as communities. It's also about the ill health effects. And when you look at African-American communities, we're usually the folks on the front line. We're a lot of the folks in service economy and other things where we're actually in more frequent, more intimate contact with people. I mean, I have members of my family who are hairdressers, right? They're not working either. But to go to work right now is going to put themselves at risk and also the families that they have to go home to. So I think it's a short-sighted strategy, as Banga was just mentioning earlier, to sort of say, we have to open up, and we still have a health crisis that we are nowhere near having under control.
Let's go to Derek Holley. Derek, what do you again make of what the heck is going on here? We're dealing with an economic calamity, the significant amount of money that has gone towards folks, big business, but if you don't deal with businesses and you don't deal with this, these unemployment numbers are real. And you're talking about, 14, 16, 18% for folks over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months. Oh, it's going to be hell to pay for any politician come November.
I would agree with that, Roland. And I think Congress right now, we're definitely going to have to put forth another stimulus package. And I think the House, they need to get back to work and come up with some type of solution for these people who are struggling right now. I think right now, a lot of these small businesses are in jeopardy of not even coming back. A lot of these jobs are in jeopardy of not coming back. And I think until we figure out what's going to happen right now, I think the government needs to step in with a stronger stimulus package to help out the small businesses and the people who are employed by these small businesses.
Robert?
Well, I think the biggest thing we have to look at is the fact that our economy has been operating in a emergency posture for over a decade. What happened during the Great Recession is we did massive amounts of economic stimulus to the economy as opposed to the austerity measures which were taken by European governments in order to lift us out of that recession, to flatten out that economic curve, and then to stimulate spending and recovery. That is that graph you see of the Obama administration of unemployment coming down year over year, and then continuation of that through the Trump years. The problem, however, was that just like if you are running your car on high, you run out of gas eventually. And then when something actually happens, you need to speed up, you've already burned all that out. So since we've already pulled all the economic levers, because we had the $1.5 trillion tax cut last year, because we had the $1.3 trillion spending bill, $700 million in military spending, we are already stimulus to the gills, and that puts us into the position of falling into an inflationary curve through more spending. So our Congress has to come up with some actual stimulus ideas that will affect the regular Americans or regular small businesses, as opposed to simply being giveaways where we're getting Ruth Chris and state check $10 and $20 million, and the airline industry can walk in and just ask for $28 billion and walk back out the door. We have to have a targeted stimulus plan and not just get hustled again like we got on the last two stimulus bills, and have something that's targeted at regular people and not simply get a giveaway to corporations. Because when they got those tax cuts last year, instead of investing in the infrastructure, instead of investing in employees, instead of putting money away to have a rainy day fund, they tell all of us to have a 6-month rainy day fund in case something happens. They invest that into stock buybacks, artificially inflating the value of their stocks and then cashing out on it. So we have to make sure we put guardrails in place so we do not end up in a similar situation and that we're able to pull ourselves out of this economic tailspin.
But here's the deal. This is what happens, Niambi, when you have nonsensical fiscal policy, when you give this huge tax cut, when your deficit was already still high because you were trying to reward your rich Republican donors. And this is one of the reasons why you don't do that.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think everybody who was thinking about that tax cut at the time, people were screaming from the rafters that this is going to actually not do much for regular people, and they did it anyway. But you have to also remember, this is a government, this is an administration, this is a Congress in many cases that doesn't think much of regular people. Right. Their thing is that corporations will take care of it all. And we know that's exactly not what corporations do. And in fact, that's the job of the government. But we have a government that is intent on shirking its responsibilities to its citizens. And that's fiscally, that's in terms of health policy and every other way. And so these are the kinds of outcomes we can get. The answer to every question is always, well, the corporations need to be saved. I mean, and it's not unique just to this administration. I mean, we've seen it before with the banks that were too big to fail. We see this time and again, and it's the American people that have to bear the brunt of this and have to pay the cost of it over the longer term.
Every single night. We've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Cedrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Patel Saul.
Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Kristin McDowell, Benja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward. Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris. Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Springs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with the Root. Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malvo, economist, president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon McDougall, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi, Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, we're seeing cops go wild all across the country. This is a video from Los Angeles. Jasmine Koenig, of course, we also had her on the show. Jasmine Koenig posted this video, and you can see in the video, brother's not doing jack, he's handcuffed. But clearly the cop did not like something the brother said to him, and so this madness ensued. Cop not too particularly happy. Then, of course, there's Sean Reed, the brother in Indianapolis, who live streamed a car chase between him and cops. And he was shot and killed by the police officer. It was all being streamed. This is a warning for you to watch this video. Go ahead.
What street is this? I'm finna park this motherfucker to get the fuck out. Oh, baby. What's this, Michigan and what? Michigan and what? Ace? I'm finna park this motherfucker at Ace. On 62nd in Michigan? Somebody come get my stupid ass. Please come get me. Please come get me. Please go get me. I'm on 62nd in Michigan. I just parked this motherfucker. I'm gone. Please come get me.
So you see the cop covering his face there. Also, there was a comment that was made with regards to him being casket ready, something along those lines. I'll pull the exact comment. Folks have been protesting in Indianapolis. No other further details what this car chase was about. We've seen these videos also, Reese, from New York, how black people have been treated when it comes to safe distancing. White folks, they're giving them masks. Black folks getting slapped with handcuffs, getting beat up. Again, you look at the case, got one in L.A. I mean, the brother's sitting there in handcuffs. Okay, fine. He cussed the cop out or whatever he said. That don't mean you beat the hell out of somebody. But the other problem is his partner did nothing.
Yeah, I mean, people just feel like it's hunting season. They feel like they can get away whatever the hell they can get away with. And a lot of people, the only thing that's actually having any kind of accountability is the fact that we have cameras now. These people are doing this stuff without any regard, except for the fact that these cameras and these footage is leaking. And it's ridiculous. It's not okay to hunt Black people, whether you are calling yourself making a citizen's arrest like the people were down in Georgia, which is really just an excuse to be a vigilante and harass and target Black people, or whether you are a police officer. I'm sick of it. I mean, today it's we don't want to die or something. NAACP was trending. It's sickening, and it just seems like it's reaching a fever pitch in the past couple of days.
Erica, go ahead.
Yeah, and so that campaign Reese was talking about from the NAACP, we are done dying. And I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to be very honest. For my birthday, for Mother's Day, I'm getting a 380. My boyfriend is buying me a 380. I am tired as hell. And let me say this to be very, very clear. One thing, I don't give a damn what he said. This man in Los Angeles was in handcuffs. And so to see him being effectively boxed upon by one punk and then the other punk that sat back and watched, that is immediate grounds for termination, and they ass should have been thrown in jail. Sean Reed, for that to have been live streamed and for then him to have been gunned down and effectively an old punk to stand on top of his body and effectively laugh about it. And then you have these two backwood deliverance characters out of the state of Georgia and Brunswick, which also the absentee ballot task force, some of the Brunswick officials are a part of that, led by the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger there. What Reese said, it is open hunting season, and then that video footage is being played over and over again. We don't know where. Listen, they have gotten their marching orders from their president. I'm saying this, I'm tired, but I'm done as well. And so I'm being proactive in that. And so that video that you talked about earlier with the woman that was being led to the state capitol by those brothers with those weapons, and they were about it and ready, that is where we're at. When we're saying that we're done dying, what we're also saying is that we are actually ready to pick up the reins, because I said this on your show, Roland, back in 2019, and I am sorry that I'm having to keep saying this, but welcome to the new era of civil rights. It is past time. What COVID-19 has allowed for is for the stillness for people to see that otherwise, just kind of like say a name, hashtag this, to really understand the depths with which white folks are going to make sure that they retain control of this country. It is time to not only say we are done dying, but be damn meaning that we are done dying.
Greg, it's no shock that that whatever character, Jason Whitlock, would be critical of LeBron James. This is what LeBron James tweeted. We're literally hunted every day, every time we step foot outside the comfort of our homes. Can't even go for a damn jog, man. Like, WTF, man, are you kidding me? No, man, are you kidding me? I'm sorry, Ahmaud. Rest in paradise. My prayers and blessings sent to the family. Like I say, Jason Whitlock took exception to that. We don't care because he's a joke anyway. But, Greg, again, the problem is that, and I keep saying this here, as long as cities are responsible for these police brutality cases and you're not taking that money out of those pensions, it will continue. You start taking money directly out of the pensions of these cops, trust me, they're going to think twice about swinging on somebody.
They might. In the first video we saw, it was really quite a metaphor for white male supremacy. Here we had a run of a man who couldn't pick up the black man who was cussing him out as he tried to punch him. And after raining a number of apparently very weak blows on this black man, the brother was standing there looking him in the face like, that's all you got. Meanwhile, his accomplice standing back in fear for her own life. She probably wanted to stop, but she didn't want to get caught with one of them punk blows. But I love how this black man just stands up and looks at him like, that's all you got? My man throws his camera down, his little phone down in a little tiny fit of shrunken white male supremacy. And that's really what this is about. Now, you know, Reese, I'm glad you brought that up. You know, when the NAACP says we're done dying, you know, I hate to say it, but, and that's why, Eric, I shouted like I did when you said you can get in there in 380. We're not done dying. We are not done dying until we decide we are done dying. And then that's not about marches. That's not about hashtags. And it reminds me of the brother from Monroe, North Carolina, and his wife, the great Robert Williams and Mabel Williams, who were over the NAACP chapter in that little North Carolina town until they said that we're going to form a rifle club. At which point the NAACP suspended them and go get their book, Negroes with Guns. In other words, what we are facing is a situation where every time we get gunned down, we say this has to end, and then we don't end it. Let's be very clear. They're worried about their money. The police union, yes, the lawsuits might back them up. But when you're facing a shrunken, shriveled piece of a human being, like the one we saw in the first video, and then something less than human, which we saw in Indianapolis, you're talking about people who in that moment really wouldn't be scared of a lawsuit. They are exercising what Francis Cress Welsing might say, their fear of annihilation, of genetic annihilation, of white male genetic annihilation. And so if we must die, let us nobly die. But frankly, I think that if we all went out and got us a 380, a couple of little deuces or whatever we're going to have legally, and then when they run up on us, like I said with the sister in Lansing, she ain't got to worry about nobody running up on her because ain't nobody going to spit in my face. I got 3 firemen with long rifles. And guess what? Not only am I not going to die, today is the day you question whether or not Black Lives Matter as much as your life, because I'm getting ready to take it if you get in my face.
Every single night. We've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he's the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Cedrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Patal Salt, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Deja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward. Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris. Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Cardle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Springs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with the group. The Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malvo, economist president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon Madugal, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi, Mario King.
we're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.
Hey everybody, this is your man Fred Hammond, and you're watching Roland Martin, my man, Unfiltered.
Hi, this is Essence Atkins, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hey yo, Peace World, what's going on? It's the Love King of R&B, Raheem Devon, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hi, my name is Brescia Webb, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Well, I like a nice filter usually, but we can be unfiltered.
What's going on? This is Tobias Trevelyan. And if you're ready, you are listening to and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
What's up? I'm Lance Gross, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hi, this is Cheryl Lee Ralph, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, could it be any other way? Really? It's Roland Martin.
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey fam, want to check out